Missy, with Exhale Parent, some very similar issues, and it sounds like a place that especially new parents can go to really help navigate their different options and everything. Could you talk a little bit about some of the solutions that you're advocating for?
Yes, absolutely. And so many things that we just heard are really resonating with me too. So thanks for rounding everything out here. Exhale Parent is really built around the moments when you become a new parent and how to best support your family during those very difficult times. And as we've talked about before, the United States does not have a national paid family and medical leave policy. And so as a result, there are really two main places that you could get paid family and medical leave. One is at the state level, and second is from your corporate directly. And what we see when I talk to businesses is that corporates do have a desire to want to support families. They do. They want to do the right thing by their employees. But I constantly hear, well, we want to support them, but gosh, how do we actually do this? Like, somebody's out of the workforce for 6 weeks or 12 weeks. We got to save their job, but then we also have to bring in somebody else and we have to pay them twice and we really can't afford to pay them. And so I think, we're at this point that corporates could solve it, but it's really hard to just do the right thing, offer a lot of time, incur a big expense when it's completely optional, right? And at the same time, the government is seeing more and more businesses step in, but you lose the equity in paid family medical leave when it's only coming from the corporates. And so I think we really need something to spark this cycle to make it easier and more normal for corporates to support their employees and for workers to have the assurance and the rights that they're really entitled to. And so that's why I'm so excited to see the proposal coming through tonight from Biden. In addition, I want to talk a minute about workforce equity. So far, we've talked largely about moms, but we haven't really named it as an equity problem in the workplace. I feel that parental leave is this moment in time when parents figure out who's the primary parent and who has the primary responsibility when the kid gets sick. And I feel so strongly about parental leave because it is that time when you're figuring it out. And if one parent is the parent who is better with a sick kid, that parent is going to be the one who takes time off from work to take the sick kid to the doctor or to care for that kid for however long it needs to be. And of course, when someone steps out of the workforce, be it for a period of time flexibly, or be it for a period of time just needing to be a little bit off for a couple of weeks, it can impact your long-term career. It can impact your bonuses. It can impact your pay. It can impact your promotion. And then down the line, you see when big moments like COVID happened, economically, the easier decision is that if one parent needs to step back, it's the one who's making less money. And that is largely tied to who is making the sacrifices early on to be with the children. And so when I think about, paid family and medical leave, I feel that it has this potential to not only support American families, but also to help create equity in the workforce for all types of workers, all classes of workers, but also across genders. And so, Exhale Parent is built out so that different classes of people, different genders can actually see the rights that they're entitled to and have the steps they need to be able to go and claim those rights. Because oftentimes there's just this information gap in not even knowing what you don't know and defaulting to the norm that you see. When in fact, there might be benefits available in certain states, cities, counties that you don't even know about. So there are many inspirations to having built out Exhale Parent, but certainly workplace equity and workforce equity are among them.
Fantastic. And I'd like to think this would be a win-win if states could get more involved, with that 1.5 million women exiting the workforce. If there was some sort of leave available, you may not have so many women and men in some cases too being the primary caregivers completely exiting the workforce. And so obviously there's a cost to the state maybe for funding some of that leave, but if it allows more people to remain in the workforce, you'd like to think that you get the benefit back with the economic gains and the taxes and everything else. So I'd like to think that this would be a real win-win.
And actually, Fred, you're bringing up a really important point that comes across as a little bit counterintuitive. So most people think that when you take time off work, then you might be less likely to return to work. You actually see the opposite. And California has been the big experiment on this because they've had the longest running paid family and medical leave program. Even if you just look at moms who take leave are 18% more likely to be in the workforce a year after they become a parent. So they get the time they need and they get their families set up and they find a daycare and they get through the first, many vaccine appointments. And then they're more likely to return to the workforce, which is better for companies to have the retention. It is better at the state level to have more people working, more taxes coming in. It's better for employee culture and business morale. There's just lots of pros to it, but I think it's easy for businesses to look in the micro and say, oh gosh, this employee is going to be gone for a little while, and not think long term about the benefits of retention and reduced attrition and higher cultural signaling of being able to support families. So there's a lot to unpack there, but actually, this is a really important point that leave actually inspires workforce retention.
Absolutely.